Christopher Ryan, Sex at Dawn, The Prehistoric Origins of Modern Sexuality. And Sex at Dawn, The Prehistoric Origins of Modern Sexuality. Christopher Ryan takes us on a journey into the past to explore the hunter-gatherer tribes of our ancestors and the idea that sexual sharing was an essential aspect of human survival. The book reveals how monogamy may not be a natural human inclination, but a consequence of the agricultural revolution that brought about significant changes in human society. Tapping into fascinating anthropological and biological research, Ryan challenges common cultural beliefs about love, relationships, and our sexual nature.
Sexual promiscuity in hunter-gatherer communities. In prehistoric communities, sexual promiscuity was a rule, as sex was considered a community resource. These societies were based on sharing, including sexual favors. Since the invention of agriculture, many cultures have tried to diminish the human desire for sex and promote monogamy. Despite this, the legacy of promiscuous behavior is still evident in human cultures today. The evolution of fatherhood and sex in tribal societies. In some South American tribes, the concept of paternity is shared among many men. Casual sex and shared parenthood are encouraged as they are believed to benefit the social structure. This was also practiced by our ancestors, where every male cared for each child, resulting in better survival chances for everyone. Casual sex also stimulates the release of oxytocin, creating feelings of happiness and bonding. Furthermore, socio-erotic exchanges are not limited to opposite sexes but also among members of the same sex. However, the development of agriculture led to the demonization of promiscuity and the rise of monogamous relationships. The dark side of agriculture. Agriculture led to a decline in human health, social well-being, and sexual equality, as per the beliefs of modern scientists. Nomadic hunter-gatherer lifestyles kept possession and greed at bay, but agriculture created possibilities for sedentary life, ownership, and prosperity, causing wealth gaps, hunger, and wars. With the rise of possessiveness came the idea of paternity and property. It was important for male farmers to ensure which children would inherit, and women's fidelity became subject to public shaming, physical force, and marriage. As a result, women's roles were limited to raising children, and the idea of the weaker female libido emerged, which is entirely false. Overall, agriculture paved the way for negative consequences that affected our health, social structure, and sexual equality, challenging the traditional narrative that agriculture was always a major breakthrough for humanity. Women's sexual desire. Women have just as much sexual desire as men. A recent study showed that men and women were equally physically excited while watching erotic films. Women were even aroused by a greater variety of images than men. However, social pressure can circumscribe female desire, making them suppress their sexuality more easily. Female desire is also more fluid than male desire, i.e., women are turned on by a greater variety of things. This study shows that both men and women are promiscuous creatures, which may lead to a possible examination of our evolutionary history. By studying our closest primate ancestors, chimps and bonobos, we could reveal the probable social/sexual structure of our prehistoric communities. The surprising similarities between human and primate sexual behaviors. Humans share a close genetic ancestry with primates, particularly the chimpanzees and bonobos whose DNA differs from ours by just 1.6%. Therefore, studying these primates can help us understand the basis for our own behavior. They both have active and promiscuous sex lives, live in tight-knit communities with complex social relations, and use sex to mediate conflicts. Females have higher social status, and sex encourages equal, peaceful, and female-oriented social groups, particularly in bonobo communities. These behaviors have similarities with the early hunter-gatherer lifestyles in which sex was shared among all community members. Therefore, the traditional belief that humans are best suited for monogamous lifestyles is myopic. In addition to behavior, anatomical similarities between humans and these primates include relatively large male genitalia, evolved to serve and support a promiscuous lifestyle. The evolution of human reproduction. The human penis and testes are large relative to body size to compete with other men's sperm. This feature evolved due to mating with multiple partners. The thrusting motion during sex helps the man pump out the semen of previous men, and the first spurts contain chemicals that protect the man's sperm. The height difference between men and women reflects body size dimorphism, as females prefer taller partners. Our ancestors' promiscuity also led to the development of behavioral oddities. The remnants of our promiscuous ancestors. Although society has established strict codes of conduct throughout history, evidence suggests that humans still exhibit traits from their promiscuous past. Female copulatory vocalizations and the ability for women to have multiple orgasms are indicators of our ancestors' polygamous nature. These traits allowed for sperm competition and enabled women to potentially have offspring with multiple men. These remnants provide insight into our evolutionary behavior and raise the question of how they affect our modern relationships. The myth of monogamy. Monogamy is a social construct that often leads to confusion and unhappiness in relationships, as humans have evolved to desire multiple partners. The societal pressure to love and desire only one person can cause us to misinterpret a lack of lust for a lack of love, and to confuse sexual excitement with true love. Monogamy can also be detrimental to men's health, as long-term monogamous relationships cause a decrease in testosterone levels, leading to potential health problems. While it may be difficult to reconcile evolutionary biology with societal norms, there are ways to establish healthy and fulfilling relationships despite the stigma surrounding promiscuity. Bridging the gap between love and biology. Our biological desire for sex with multiple partners clashes with society's promotion of monogamy, leading to a breakdown in our traditional understanding of love. To bridge this gap, we must start by openly identifying and questioning popular misconceptions around love and sex. We also need to promote wider acceptance of masturbation and adolescent sexuality to help individuals deal with hormonal upheaval. Adolescents should receive comprehensive sex education that encourages experimentation with whatever sexual acts they feel comfortable engaging in, as demonstrated by the Muria tribe in India. Finally, we must remember that sex is merely a biological impulse and should not be confused with long-term love's mutual understanding, affection, and intellectual connection. By openly discussing these issues, we can begin to redefine our concept of love and form healthier relationships.
Throughout Sex at Dawn, we have uncovered the complex history of human sexuality and discovered that the natural inclination towards promiscuity may be a profound aspect of our past. Despite attempts to enforce monogamy in our society, biologically, we may still be predisposed to seeking multiple partners. It is essential for us to re-examine our understanding of love, relationships, and sexuality, as well as engage in open conversations about the role of sexual expression in our lives. By embracing the complexities in our sexual nature, we can foster healthier and more fulfilling relationships while potentially bridging the gap between our evolutionary history and societal ideals.